Hapless teenagers beset by demons in the woods. A strange new drug that turns art into murder. A can't beat a deal on a new house with a horrifying past. A video game that might usher in the apocalypse. From the demented mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires, Shadow Play, and Murder Virus, comes Volume 4, collecting Baker's no-sleep work along with several never-before-published short stories. This 99-cent volume also includes the opening chapter of the author's forthcoming teenage giallo novel, Black Gloves and Broken Hearts, due out later this year.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. My name is Sean.
I'm Missy.
And we are joined today once again by Ivy Tholen, author extraordinaire. Ivy, welcome.
Hi, thank y'all for having me.
So,
Hello.
I swear, like Tastes Like Candy 2 Sugarless came out, I mean, was it even 6 months ago?
Nope, not even 6 months ago.
And now your new book. So talk about your new book that just came out.
Tastes Like Candy 2 was kind of depressing to write, so I wanted to write something a little bit more fun. And I always wanted to write a story about a mother-daughter serial killer duo. And this just kind of felt like the time, and I just kind of turned it into a comedy. And it's sort of structured around Father of the Bride. If you read the book and you're familiar with the movie Father of the Bride, it hits most of the exact same beats. So that was kind of intentional. And then I sort of injected a little bit of serial mom into it, because when the mother in this book gets upset, she has a tendency to snap and start killing people. And it's for some very petty reasons. There's some very petty reasons.
This is Mother Dear, and this is available now.
Yes, it is available now, Amazon, paperback, ebook, and on Kindle Unlimited.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to read it. Oh my God. I'm very impressed by your release schedule. So
Thank you.
Tastes Like Candy 2 is depressing to write?
It was just a lot of like, because the first half is about a teenage girl that's essentially being abused by her mother, because her mother wants to be a social media guru, and she forces her daughter into it. And then the second half is following the survivor from the first book, and she's super messed up in the head. So all of that side by side, it was a slog. By the end of it, I was like, I need something happy in my life.
Mother-daughter serial killer combo.
Hey, and now, as soon as I finished Mother Dear, I was like, I need to write something violent. So I'm writing another just pure violent slasher. So we'll see what happens after that.
Very, very nice. I can't wait for that as well.
It's a lot of fun.
That is great.
I really liked that one.
Yes.
If you're within the sound of my voice, I strongly recommend you check out Ivy's stuff. I just think start with Tastes Like Candy, because you will blow through it in a fucking day, 2 days tops, and you'll go right into the sequel. And I'm just gonna. I still haven't read Mallrats. I need to do that. And then obviously the new one. But man, my girlfriend, who is an avid I mean, she read like all the fucking Diana Gabaldon books, the Outlander shit, right?
Okay.
She has, I mean, and those are like tomes. And she's just been in a rut for a while reading. And I remembered when you were on, I don't know if it was on the episode or while we were talking after or before the episode, Ivy, you mentioned like people have told you Tastes Like Candy is a good, like if you're in a
Yes.
funk with reading, it'll break
Yes.
that. Totally broke it
Yes.
for her.
Yes.
So
We'll do that. Yes. And I am proud to be that author.
yeah, no, you should be. You should be.
No,
I
that's
told you,
awesome.
your prose is it's exquisite and it pulls you through the fucking book very, very quickly.
Thank you. I'm whenever I was writing, I used AutoCrit to edit this one. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but if you're an author, it's another it's it's not quite like ProWriteAid because I also use ProWriteAid. I use both of them to edit it, but it'll give you a summary of like it's really good. It's better at passive words and all that kind of thing, but it gives you a lot of summaries. And one of the metrics it gives you is how easy is this to read? How fast is this to read? And
Interesting.
I was getting like perfect scores on speed reading, and I'm like, yes, let's continue this because that's what people like. So yeah, you just knock them out really quickly for some reason. People really just zip through them. And I read it in one sitting. I read it in 2 sittings. Personally, it took me 6 hours to read it out loud. So that's, yeah. But it is a full 300-page novel. So
I mean, it it reminds me a little bit. In no way is your style the same. And that's not good or bad, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, but it reminds me a little bit of the experience when I first found Chuck Palahniuk, where like
okay.
I read Lullaby, Diary, Choke, and maybe one other one. And the way every time I'd pick one up, I learned after 2 books. I started reading Lullaby, the first one I ever read, at like after I got off work tending bar at like 1 in the morning, and I didn't sleep, right? So then I think the same thing happened with Diary. And then the next time I read one of his books, I'm like, I'm not starting this shit at fucking 1 in the goddamn morning because it's going to be one, you know. But so there's a rhythm, and the comparison is there's a rhythm to not like the way that you write, but also like the layout of the page, and it just really it works. So yeah, I recommend your stuff to as many people as possible.
Well, thank you.
I do too.
And in turn, you recommend things. And so one of the things you mentioned when you were on talking about Tastes Like Candy 2 was a movie you had heard was coming out called It's What's Inside. And I remembered that, and I saw recently that it was coming, and then boom, this shit hit, I guess, I don't know, Friday, maybe.
Friday.
I don't know. Yeah,
Friday.
okay. It's a Netflix movie, and wow. So listeners, we are going to have a spoiler-free review here, but here's what I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. In my opinion, you should know absolutely fucking nothing about this movie before you watch it. So if you have not seen this, anything I say is going to be, in my opinion, a spoiler. So just shut the shit off and come back to it afterwards. So we'll talk spoilers, we'll give you warnings, and we will probably talk, I'm sorry, we'll talk spoiler free, and then we'll give you warnings, and then we'll talk some spoilers. But this movie, wow. So Ivy, how did this come on your radar originally?
I follow a lot of YouTubers and people who go to film festivals, and somebody had released a video out of South by Southwest talking about this movie, talking about how amazing it was, and said, don't find out anything about it when it comes to Netflix, because it's coming to Netflix. Don't know anything about it, just watch it. And the other thing that they said was it's really good with a group of people, which told me it was going to be fun. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep this on my radar. I'm not gonna learn anything about it. And like the trailer came out 2 weeks ago or something like that, and I was telling everybody I knew, do not watch this trailer, don't do this. And then I knew maybe there was something involving a wedding and a group of friends, and that is all I knew. And I turned it on Friday and was so happy I knew nothing, because it was so fun to watch going in blind. Yeah. So I just pay attention to people that go to film festivals.
This is written and directed by Greg Jardin, and I was unfamiliar with him. I felt like I had heard the name or seen the name before, and the only thing that he did that I knew of, he did so a couple years ago, Netflix. I'm a huge Cowboy Bebop fan. I don't really like animation or anime, but I truly believe that Cowboy Bebop is the work that transcends the genre, like they say, and I love it. And they did a live action, and there was this like 3 minute thing called Cowboy Bebop: The Lost Session, which was basically like a trailer without being a trailer. Like it didn't show you what happened in the show. It just kind of put you in this action scene where you learned, okay, this is Spike, this, you learned the characters, you kind of got a gist of everything in 3 minutes. And it was really, I remember thinking like, wow, that was a really effective 3 minutes. So I didn't remember his name from that, but he did that. It's What's Inside is, I just feel like it's maybe unclassifiable. People will say it's not horror. I disagree, and I definitely think Missy disagrees.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's fucking body horror because
it is body horror.
What
sure.
happens is like it reminds me so much of Talk to Me, where I love Talk to Me, but I'm
Yes.
looking at this and for many years I didn't see. I'm 48. For a very long time, I didn't see. I never saw age. I never saw a difference with younger people. And then at some point, certain little like social things crept in, and it really this movie and Talk to Me like in either situation, if somebody shows up and is like, "Hey, I got this thing. Let's do this. Here's what we're gonna do," and everybody in the movie's like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." I'm just looking at you like,
no,
dude, my friends and I were fucking nuts. Not a one of us
No.
would have been hip to either of the things in these
No.
movies. Like,
No.
no fucking thank you.
No
nope,
way.
nope.
Oh,
No. When I was watching it, I was having to have a conversation where I was because I actually got a couple of my friends who do not live near me, and we watched it sort of digitally all together. And we were
Okay.
together, and we were trying to come up with like what parameters would it have to be to actually get me to do this.
yeah.
And it
No.
was hard to come up with like I would rather do it with strangers as long as I could watch my own body. I would not want to do this with people I know. Absolutely not. Like I would
Oh.
rather be able to walk away and never talk to any of these people again if that was gonna be the case. But like this is happening amongst friends, and
Oh.
it's horrifying. That's why it's horror. It's a horrifying film when you really think of the implications of what's going on.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not a
For
slash.
sure.
It's not horror like that, but it is horrifying.
It is horrifying. And I mean, there are those that will just say it's straight sci-fi. I could see that. So at this point, if you've not seen this movie, I'm definitely saying we're still not going heavy spoilers, but just turn this the fuck off because we're going to have to talk about well, maybe not. Maybe it's a really
It'll
hard
be
movie
hard.
to review without doing spoilers because I really
Right.
just think everybody should go in blind. So
I've pretty much said all I'm comfortable about saying in a non-spoiler. Like the
okay.
second you start talking about what happens when they sit down, like I think this is people's warning, and if they are here, they need to stop and they need to just run off and come back.
I agree.
Right.
So I'm going to read the plot synopsis that's on IMDb just to give people a general, and this is probably too much too. A group of friends gather for a pre-wedding party that descends into an existential nightmare when an estranged friend arrives with a mysterious game that awakens long-hidden secrets, desires, and grudges. So I had not even read that. I saw like something about like party, estranged friend, suitcase, secrets, and I was like, oh, this guy's gonna show up with like all this shit and blackmail people or whatever. Missy, without going into we're gonna go into spoilers very quickly because I think Ivy's right, but talk about watching this movie. You watched it twice Friday, correct?
I did. And I knew nothing about it other than Ivy had mentioned it to me a few weeks ago and then said, oh, you don't know anything about it? Don't watch any trailers. I'll tell you when it comes out. So I didn't. I knew nothing about it. And then you messaged me, hey, let's do this. So I watched it. And at first, because it has that like youthful millennial kind of vibe where it's just blasting you. The first 10, 15 minutes, I was not sure how I was going to feel with about it because it was super overstimulating. You're getting, because you're seeing all these texts and conversations and photographs and Instagram posts from this group of friends. And you're just getting blasted with all this stuff. And then you get to the gathering and it is very immersive, and I felt like I was at a party and it was making me very anxious at first. I got into it pretty quickly though. Um, it it bears some similarity in the beginning to Bodies, 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 a movie I did not like. So I was a little worried about getting into this one, but once I did, I was good. I was very immersed. I never looked at my phone or anything. In fact, when I finished it, it pretty much blew my mind. I'm like, holy shit, I wanted to immediately start it again.
Yeah.
But because once you actually know what's going on and you watch it again, you watch it really differently.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
but I agree. I would strongly urge people to watch it as blind as possible. And then, once, if you enjoy it, once you watch it once, you can always go back to it, and it's a different ride when you know what you're looking at.
Yes. Yeah, I started rewatching the beginning of it, and I was already like, oh, okay, for some of the stuff that pays off towards the end.
I would like to see, and I don't know if this is a statistic that is available, but I'd like to see, like, Netflix is very proud with the way they stack their tiles, where it's like most watched, favorite, whatever, blah blah blah, number one, number two. I'd like to see most rewatched, if this in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month is the most rewatched, because I feel like it is very vibrant. I mean, your exact text to me on Friday, like, so at I don't know what time this is. You're like, all right, let's see what this is all about. Roll it. And then shortly thereafter, you're like, I'm engaged, but oh my God, this movie is overstimulating. I feel like I'm at a party.
At a
And
party.
I right away, I was like, I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for Missy.
Right.
She sent
That's
me
true.
the same text, and I had the exact same thought. I was like, no, she's gonna hate the movie.
I actually loved it, but
It's
it's done exceptionally well.
yes, yes, it really is.
Because I mean, I'm shocked that I got as deep in and that I enjoyed it as much as I did. It kept me on my toes through the whole thing.
Oh,
I had a really good time with it. But just the way it approaches things, it's very vibrant and fast paced and in your face with all these characters that are bickering and whatnot. But they do it so well and frame it kind of like a mystery that I was very engaged with it. Whereas Bodies, Bodies, Bodies walked a similar but different line, and it didn't work for me at all. I hated it.
I like that movie, but it's a completely different movie. There are social similarities, character similarities, but
Yeah,
it's not, it doesn't have as interesting. Yeah, very, very different. And just the mechanism of the plot is very different. But this movie is very vibrant, and I think it'll be rewatched because I think people will burn through it and be like, oh, and then want to start it over.
And want to show their friends. Like it's a crowd pleaser. It's a fun one. It would be a fun one to watch in a group.
Yes.
You just need, like, I'm just gonna warn people, you have to fucking pay attention. You'll realize that as soon as shit starts, you'll be like, oh wait, what now? Hold on. My girlfriend's like, I need a fucking murder board for this show. But I'm like, but you wouldn't even have time, like, with the murder board, so
they do a very, very good job of trying to help you remember what's going on.
They do
handle it very, very well. I was a big fan of how they did it.
They do. And yeah, I agree 100%.
This isn't something that you watch with your phone in your, it really isn't. You just,
No,
No.
no, no, you will miss so fucking much. So just, and also stoners, like, uh, I don't know. I don't know if I can, like, I was not high when I watched this. I love to be high when I watch movies. It doesn't happen so much anymore, on a regular basis, but I don't know that you want to be high the first time you watch this because you might just give up. Um,
Nah, I think it'll make it more immersive.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, people react differently, and I just feel
Right.
like
Depends.
my man, I would have been like, wait, what now? Um, okay, let's at the sound of the chainsaw, we're gonna go into full spoiler territory. So you've been warned. So if you've not watched It's What's Inside on Netflix, turn this off and come back. All right. What do we want to talk about with so you get to the end of the movie and that whole sequence with you don't know who it is at first, and they're driving the car with the black eye and they're like, fuck you fucking cunt, whatever, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what is, oh, is this the bride? Is this, and when you realize who it is, it's like, oh, and then when you realize who it is,
Hmm.
I was like, this movie had pulled the wool over my eyes 100% the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
Nope.
I did.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I saw it
Did you-
from almost the very, very, very beginning.
Really?
Really?
I turned to the person next to me and I said, that is not Forbes. It's not. That's
Holy
Forbes'
shit.
body. That is not Forbes. I do not remember the exact line, but Forbes did say something that gave it away, where he said something along the lines of, some people might not even want to switch back. And I turned and I said, that's not Forbes at all.
Oh shit.
I did
Okay.
not know who it was, but the second I saw the sister, I went, that's Forbes right there, right there. The sister, she's out for revenge. And then it all kind of came together. Beautiful. It was beautiful. I loved it.
That's really, I knew at the end that when you go back from the moment he's there, I knew there would be things that were tip-offs, like the whole scene where uh Dennis is confessing to him about, like, yeah, you know what we said to the dean and whatnot, and um what's the like, okay, the main couple, like the guy is the worst. He's not the worst boyfriend in the movie because that's still the guy in Midsommar, but he's like probably the second worst boyfriend in the movie I could think of.
He's
What was
really
his what was his
He's
fucking
pretty bad.
name?
Cyrus.
Cyrus, there
Cyrus.
you go. Ah, the warrior shot Cyrus. Sorry, I can't hear Cyrus and not think of that.
Hmm.
I
And
wish
then
they
he's like,
more white bread name. Like they should have
yeah,
named
well,
and it would have
Todd.
been easier
I
to
don't know.
remember who's
Yeah,
exactly.
Chad.
It would have been easier to remember. But every time they called him Cyrus, I was like, which one's Cyrus?
But then Dennis is like, Cyrus, and then Forbes was like, oh wait, what? Oh, he said something. And I just knew that was like, I went back to that immediately, where it's like, oh, because he didn't know, but also the way they had explained his character, Forbes' character, I felt like he didn't behave anything like the way that they explained his character before he showed up, right? So
Right.
I felt like, oh man, yeah, it was there. It's just one of those. I love that. I don't know.
It's all there. If you watch it again, it's
Mhm.
all there. Because I went back um to watch it again later that night so that I could really wrap my brain around like who was who and who was doing what. So from the moment it started, I was trying to pay attention to people's mannerisms and things they'd say, and track track the people like you're playing that stupid shell game,
Mhm.
and see, and it's a really different. You'll catch a lot.
That's cool.
It's all in there. I didn't catch the thing with Forbes though. I didn't see it coming, but I don't I don't usually figure that stuff out. I don't really try. I just like to take the
Same.
ride and be surprised.
Same. I'm glad to, and there's stuff that it's like later I know is super obvious, and it just usually, like, if I pick up on shit like that, it usually means I don't like the movie, because I have a way of just like, I don't literally defocus my eyes, but that's like the way I describe it, where it's like I just turn things off so that I can not. My girlfriend figures shit out all the time, and
Yeah.
we've just got a standing thing. It's like just don't fucking say anything. I don't care if it's the most obvious thing in the world. Don't say anything.
Like that. Usually, just the briefest description of something, I can tell you exactly how it's going to end. I spend a lot of time trying to write these things where people are being surprised. So I can,
Mhm.
they stick out. Like when he said it, it stuck out like a sore thumb. I wasn't even listening for it. I just went, oh,
Right.
no, that's not Philip.
Okay.
Because if I know there's twistiness, I'm gonna see the twistiness. I'm gonna try.
Okay.
But it didn't bring me out of the movie. It didn't, because I watched I don't want to say the name of the movie that I watched
Okay.
because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody by
Okay.
letting them know there's twists.
Mm.
But I watched a movie last night knowing there were twists and immediately knew what it was, and it really took me out of it. This one, figuring it out kind of early that there's something else going on, didn't affect my enjoyment of this one at all.
That's cool.
So, even if you do figure it out, and you won't figure all of it out because I gasped at least 2 or 3 times out loud.
Okay.
That's a good way to say this movie, I feel like, is a gasp movie for
Yeah.
sure. I really like that. Like there were multiple like
Yeah.
whoa, what? Like
When they fell off the roof,
Uh-huh.
there was no, I was waiting for people to start stabbing each other. I did not see that coming at all.
Same.
And I loved it. I loved it.
I definitely feel like, and that we're in spoilers, so hopefully everybody listening has already seen it. But if people that liked bodies, I feel like you will definitely like this movie. But even again, even if you like, Missy hates that movie and she loved this movie. So,
But I love Talk to Me. And this has a lot. This moves more like Talk to Me.
Yes, it does.
it does. It really does.
I mean, they're really different stories, but the movies move similarly.
Well, and again, it's like kids fucking around where it's like, man, I don't know, get together and fucking do something normal, like fucking take LSD or I don't fucking know. Like Jesus Christ.
Right.
That's all I could think of when I saw
stupid
Talk to Me the
movies.
first time. It's like, what the fuck is wrong? It's like, I don't know, fucking smoke some angel dust. I mean, that seems, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. It was not a thing when the older guys were the guys who were like, ever smoke dust? Like, no. But I mean,
Well,
I don't know. I'd be more willing to do that than fucking anything in either of these movies. Like, fuck, no.
Right, no. Well, and like the first time they do it, they don't know what it is.
That's true.
They don't know what it is.
I would not do that either, though. I'm not letting somebody put electrodes on me without telling me.
I agree with you.
Good fucking point, Ivy.
The
Good
thing
point.
is that I can think of people who do think this is a good idea. So I find it completely believable people would do this.
100%.
This doesn't seem like something it doesn't seem like, why would anybody do this? It's believable that this particular group of people would take part in this whole little experiment. I don't know.
No, I agree. I mean, that is definitely where that like distance from youth came in for me. It was like maybe, I don't know, about the time when there were all these news stories about people taking Tide Pods to get high or smoking bath salts or, what, like the thing with like the fucking alcohol bong into your ass. I'm just like, dude, just fucking smoke a joint or like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's not that hard. What are you doing? Tide? Really? Oh my God. Like, just that was really where I felt like, okay, I'm starting to feel old.
And the Tide Pod thing was a really long time ago too. So that's
I guess
double
2011.
2011.
I have no.
2011 was a really long time ago.
Yeah, well, it definitely, and I mean, but that was like where oh man, I don't know. That's just like, what are you doing? Don't Oh yeah, you hold on to the zombie hand, and no, favorite character, Missy.
I don't have one. Like,
Okay.
I don't have one, and like, I didn't. I don't think any of these people are likable. I
No,
wasn't attached to any of them.
no.
What engaged me in this case was not the characters; it was the mystery of the whole thing.
Okay.
Hmm. Where's this gonna go?
Least least favorite character.
Cyrus.
He probably wins hands down.
He was such a dick.
Ivy favorite character or least favorite character or both?
Favorite character, hands down, was Beatrice, the sister. Favorite,
Mm,
hands down, loved her, loved the whole thing. And she's, the actress who plays her is barely on screen, and she just was a little delight at the end of the movie.
Wait,
Um,
but so wait a minute. So just to clarify, so Beatrice, but you're talking
both.
Beatrice as far
I'm
as
talking,
Forbes as Beatrice, or are you
yes,
talking?
Forbes as Beatrice. And then at the
at the
end,
very
when the
end.
actress comes in and she's playing Forbes, that whole little dynamic there, I think, is what did it
Okay,
for me. But
Okay.
knowing that lunatic did this to these people really, really amuses me. And then in the end, when she's inside of the blonde girl, that it's just that it's one of those characters I wish I had come up with myself. Um,
Okay.
and then my least one, they really could have done a lot more with the guy whose body dies on the roof.
Ruben.
Yeah, he stuck out like a sore thumb amongst all the rest.
Right. It's Dennis. I think it's Dennis's body that dies, but it's Ruben's personality that's in it.
this fucking movie gets confusing as fuck.
It is. It is. The one we
But I
always had
love.
to. He just seemed like a really thinly written character, as did the hippie girl. I had the same problem with both of them. And
Okay.
when their bodies died, or whoever died, I was happy to see him go.
She just looked homeless to me. I just kept going like, where do they find this chick under the overpass? Like,
I love how they do the visuals though to help you
Mhm.
keep track of
yes,
people.
Mhm.
Both the idea with the Polaroids was brilliant, and the way they overlay them over the
yeah.
movie, so you'll see parts of the scene with like the picture and then the person's face.
Yeah, or like they change the color, right? So it's like two people, but then they change the color and you see who it's really, but then they go
Right.
back and that's whose body, right?
It would go like red, and you'd see the personalities that are inside.
They set it up beautifully for you to look out for that kind of thing with the artist showing her drawings, the red, green, blue. Um, as soon as they spent so much time on her doing that. Oh, did you not remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
As
I
No,
spent
I
so
forgot.
much
I knew it
time.
was going to be important and I forgot about it
Yeah.
until you just
As
said
soon
that.
as they spent so much
I
time, I
didn't
went
catch
watch the
it.
red, green, and blue. There we go. Come on, let's go. And they wrote the warning in beautifully, and then they executed it beautifully. I love that. If you're gonna write something as confusing as this movie, you better have the visuals to help people keep up. And I think that they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like to me the movie was stunning and unique and original and it made me think back to I think Ang Lee's Hulk movie came out in 2003 and
Ish.
I remember going to see that with my younger cousin, taking him to see that. And I really liked it. And one of the things I liked about I mean, I don't think I've ever watched it since, but one of the things I liked about it was there was a lot of like movement. Like there would be like people talking and the screen would split screen and and I was like, oh, this is really unique. I like this. I've never seen a movie that's done quite like this. And then I remember all these reviews were like, oh, they edited it for fucking no attention span MTV generation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I really? I don't think that's what did it. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like people will decry this movie not exactly the same way, but I think the kinetic energy is going to make people say things like similar to that, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's just really well thought out and very unique. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree. They knew, right? We have to give people help, and it can't just be exposition vomit. And we have to figure out a whole stylistic choice that, like a through line with style that will work. And they really, really did. And kudos. I mean, I think it also I feel like people that like what are the Ryan Johnson movies with uh James Bond playing the slow Southern detective.
Knives Out.
Yeah. So I feel like there's an element of this movie that reminded me of more the sequel, the second one. And I'm not even sure why. I'd have to see it again and even see. I've seen Knives Out in the sequel once each, and like I like them.
Yeah, it's a group of friends and it's fast and there's like, what did you see? What did you miss? Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
Hmm.
but I think people that will definitely, if you dig that, you'll dig this. I don't know. It felt really good. It felt like something I hadn't seen before, and I really liked. Well, the only person in this movie I didn't think was despicable was Shelby.
Yeah.
I felt for her.
She
Primarily,
tried to hijack her friend's body. That's pretty despicable.
well, okay, so
Oh,
that's
that's
a good
correct. That is true.
that's true. Oh, I mean, that's
Like that
very true.
almost makes her worse than Cyrus. Like that's
Uh,
pretty
I don't
horrible.
I don't think you can be. Well, I don't know. You are correct, but I guess the whole like first part of the movie stuck with me for her character. And
Their friend group, like these are supposed to be her friends, and you're gonna hijack your friend's body.
I don't think these people like their friends very
no,
much.
well, so that's another thing. I felt like right from the beginning. I'm like, man, I feel like all these relationships, these friendships, are just completely
Hmm.
disingenuous to some degree. I don't feel like these people really care about one another the way that they profess to. I just think that they socially want to, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I love you. Hey, bro, I love you, man. But it's like, yeah, but when it comes down to it, like, you know, but I thought Forbes, just as far as not morally or anything like that, I just really liked his and so technically his sister Beatrice, but I really liked his performance, and that's David Thompson. And I knew I'd seen him before, and he was in Green Room. He's been in The Boys. He was in Fear Street Part One. Like
Oh,
he's been in a lot of, I guess, a show
Okay.
I never watched. He was Jonathan Crane in Gotham, which I think Jonathan Crane
Mm.
isn't that I think that's the Scarecrow, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. In the comic books, that would be Scarecrow.
So he's been around. Oh, he's in Blue Ruin too. So he's in Jeremy Saulnier. So that's Green Room and Blue Ruin.
Okay.
Um, man, somebody put Blue Ruin out on disc, man. That shit's hard to find. I haven't seen it in a long time. Um, but I thought he was easily my favorite character to watch. I really enjoyed his whole everything about his demeanor.
Yeah, he did put in a good performance. I don't remember him being in Green Room, but I do. I totally remember him in Fear Street. I didn't realize it was the same guy, but
This is an unexpected treat. I'm really, really glad, Ivy, that you brought this to our attention because I
yeah,
don't know.
I'm just super bummed that it doesn't seem to be like I haven't seen a whole lot about it out there, and that just really kind of sucks. I feel like Netflix maybe purchased this really good movie and they're just gonna let it die. Like this would have been incredible in theaters.
yeah, it
Yes,
The
would.
it
the
I'm kind of
reaction,
surprised it didn't get a like.
Netflix
It
bought it.
seems it's good
Netflix,
enough to be a theater movie.
yeah, Netflix bought it at one of the film festivals and they were like, we're sending it to streaming like immediately. So they intended to always release it, but I haven't seen any kind of promo or anything. It's sitting at number 10 according to my Netflix right now.
so that's
Um,
funny.
Wow.
I just flipped over and I'm looking at Netflix. So first of all, uh, I I don't know why. Like when I'm looking on my laptop, they don't have like when I go on my TV. I feel like the first thing I see is like number one today, right? And I don't see that
Hmm.
at all scrolling through the tiles.
I had to go
Oh, here
really
we go.
far
Here we
down.
go.
TV was up top, but I had to go really far down to see the movies.
Um, yeah. Oh, it's I don't think it's number 10 anymore.
That's neat.
Heartstopper is number 10. So it might,
Are those
although
accurate or are they based on like algorithms?
it's well, yes, and also I'll bet it's location too.
Yeah.
I'll
But
bet
I'd
there's an
also like to
element of
point
that.
out that I am the 100% perfect demographic for this, and I was, waiting for it, and it was not advertised to me at all.
I
I had
had
to
to search
for it.
for it on Friday.
Yeah.
I thought for sure it would be like, what's new on Netflix or whatever it would
Hmm.
be there, and I had to type in the fucking title to get
So
it.
did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah.
So
And
I agree. Why would you buy this and bury it?
It's so good.
it's
It's so
really
good.
good. And
Like,
I'm glad you
That,
told us about it because
yeah.
I mean, based on that thumbnail and the title, I wouldn't have watched that.
No way.
I wouldn't have paid any attention to it.
I would have gotten around to it 6 months from now if they showed it to me, but would they have showed it to me?
that's a thing, right? And man, that really bums me out because I was sitting here thinking earlier tonight that because of this movie, that Greg Jardine might be one of these guys like, so Netflix lost Flanagan, right? Mike Flanagan left
Yeah.
them and he went to
Mhm.
his going to work with Prime or whatever. So I feel like they might be looking for somebody like maybe not on that level, like, hey, do a bunch of shows, but like, we'll bankroll your next movie. Like they clearly do the same thing with Ryan Johnson, right? Here's a like
Yeah.
the amount of money the thing about that second Knives Out movie that made me laugh constantly, I felt like Ryan Johnson was just like, oh yeah, I mean, okay, you want to buy the next one, and he picked the most exorbitant figure he could and they gave it to him and all he did was put shit on screen. He's just like, look at all the money, look at all the money, look at all the money. I think if they do another one, it'll actually be better because they'll have it out of his system. But I feel like they do that sometimes with creators where something will be really, hot and they'll be like, hey, let's do another movie. Let's do another movie.
I just Googled it. Following a buzzy premiere at Sundance, the low budget, high concept horror comedy is now streaming on Netflix, which purchased this genre bender earlier this year for a cool 17 million, one of the biggest sales in the festival's history. Why would you drop that much money and then not promote this thing? Why? Why would you do that? What's the point?
I mean,
Right. And I feel like it could
Is
like
there a Netflix original with a similar premise that's not as good and they want to bury it so their other movie could be better? Like, I don't understand.
that makes no
right, me
sense.
neither.
It
But
Especially because it seems like a movie that could appeal to a lot of people, like to various
yeah,
different age groups. You don't I mean, it's it's got the mystery who done it thing. It's a thriller. It's not gory or anything. Like I feel like you could market this to the mainstream public and they could get into it.
if the
yeah.
Talk to Me did
substance
very
is
well.
doing okay, if the substance is doing okay, this could do okay in theaters.
So
This,
that,
I think it would do
yeah,
better because it's more accessible than the substance.
that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the Substance is going to end up being my favorite movie of the year. I would just be very surprised if anything beats it. But both times I saw it, I sat in a theater. I was like, I can't believe I'm in a Regal in Clarksville, Tennessee, and I'm
Right.
watching this fucking movie. I would have had the same reaction like when I saw Hatching in an AMC at the Lamo Mall in California, in Torrance. I remember going, I can't believe like I just can't believe the movies that are rolling out in the big box theaters, and especially like now, like across the country. And I, I put Netflix. I feel like they don't put their movies in the theater really unless if they want an Oscar, not if
Yeah,
it's going to
that's
be
it.
nominated for an Oscar, it's got to be in the
That's
theater
it.
for like 2
Yeah,
days or something. So they always do that, right? Like
yeah.
with The Irishman. Oh, it's this weekend, and then now we can get an Oscar nom.
They did it with a David Fincher movie.
Which Mank or The Killer?
No, The Killer. They did it with The Killer. The Killer you couldn't see in theaters except for like for 2 seconds in certain places.
Oh, I would
And
have
it was
loved to have
all
seen that
for
in
it
the
was all
theater.
for awards. That's what they're doing. It's dumb.
But just their thing is like they want their platform to out like we don't want to put in a theater because we want people to have to come to Netflix. They're very specific about
Mm-hmm.
that. We don't want to release social or physical media because we want people to come to Netflix. There's no 2 week trial or 7 day trial for Netflix. Like you either sign up and pay or fuck off. And which is weird because they bought the fucking Egyptian. Like my favorite theater in the whole world, they bought it and renovated or whatever. It just reopened in Hollywood. And I remember when they bought it, I was like, are they going to burn it to the ground? Like, why would Netflix buy a fucking theater
By a
when they're
theater.
obviously so anti-theater because they want you to pay for Netflix.
But people are going to watch this movie more than one time.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes no sense to me. And why for that amount of
No.
money? And honestly, I mean, there's not a lot of horror in theaters right now, and it's Halloween as we're recording this. It's October 6th. So they're, I don't know. It just seems like such a missed opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah.
I hope it just doesn't die. And I hope that the next time I hear about it isn't, 10 years from now when everybody on the internet is like, wasn't this an underrated movie? Let's take a second look. Well, you
It's
can watch.
exactly that. Like, I hope
Right.
that doesn't happen, but if it dies, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be on somebody's list in like 3 years, like,
Yeah.
movies you might have missed or like hidden gems.
Or we could watch it now and foster the career of this person who made this, wrote and directed this incredible film.
Fuck
And then he
Right.
yeah.
doesn't have to wait 10 years for somebody to understand he's talented.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's very wrong that I am, like I said, my algorithm is primed for this. I am the person who should be getting the advertisements for this movie, and I had to hear about it from YouTubers. That's weird. What is Netflix doing? Sorry.
No, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems intentional. It makes me think of Nicholas Winding Refn's Too Old to Die Young, where it was like I was waiting for that fucking show, waiting for that show. Whatever movies by him were on Prime, I had watched. Like, my algorithm was Prime for it, and when it came out, I was like, "What the fuck?" And I literally had to type in the full title to find it. I'm like, "Are you kidding?" And they buried it. In that case, maybe. I mean, I like it, but I feel like maybe I know why they buried it. They were like, people are going to hate this or people are going to want us dead. Not the case with this. I don't know why they'd bury it, but it definitely seems buried. And that really bothers me because I think Greg Jardine did an amazing job. And I just want people to watch it. And because I think they'll enjoy it,
Hmm.
I do too. It's a
I,
fun movie. It's so
it
fun.
is. And it's different. It's not something we've seen 900
Nope.
times.
It is not.
Agreed.
And there's another movie. I'll come back. Y'all talk. Hold on. I'm looking up.
Okay.
Just y'all talk.
Okay. Um, yeah, I feel like it kept me on my toes trying to
Yeah.
figure out and there were quite a few times where like you'd figure out one thing and it's like, okay, I think I know what's going on. Oh fuck, no, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. And that person is not who I thought they were. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Then there was some really clever writing, like the whole thing where like, oh, I cut my arm on the chair like an hour ago or whatever, and like the way that circled back around, I was
Hmm.
like, oh fuck, wow, that was really good. Wow.
It's
Um,
extremely well written because if you watch it again, I hate watching or reading a mystery where they don't present all the pieces, where it's like you read this whole book or you watch this movie and then it turns out to be, you know, the
It's
the
unearned.
butler that was
It's
mentioned
unearned.
once on page 30 and
well,
never
it's
again.
it's a little bit like my problem. As much as I love the first season of True Detective, I'm like, really, it was the fucking guy in the lawnmower in the fucking fourth episode. Fuck you. I love that season. I've
Hmm.
watched it 8 times, but that's why I just am like, are you fucking kidding me right now? It just felt like stupid and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
this doesn't feel like if
No,
if you listen to the things they talk about and it's there. It's
it's
all
all
there.
earned. It's all earned.
there's another movie if people like this one. It's Coherence from 2013.
Oh, I've seen it. The party.
Yes. It's very similar vibes. There's a party, some friends, weird sci-fi stuff starts happening. Another one, Coherence 2013, James Ward Burkett, I think is the name of the director. That one is
Okay.
a good to watch extra. It's not as stylistic or slick, but it's another one that you're
Okay.
like, oh, that was much better than I ever expected it to be.
Okay. Yeah, I
Man,
have
I
not
forgot about
seen
that
that one.
movie.
Yeah.
It's I forgot about that movie, and actually, like, I feel like James Ward Burkett. I thought, like, I mean, he's got 3 upcoming projects, but like, man, somebody give that guy money. I don't know what's going on there. Like, that movie Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a very low budget movie, but very
Mhm.
effective. Very
Yes.
fucking
Okay.
effective. I love low budget like this movie. What's inside to hear Ivy, you read that and it's like the low budget. I don't even it doesn't look low budget to me.
No,
No, it doesn't.
no.
It didn't feel low budget at all.
Not at all. I love
And it
when people
also
do that.
doesn't feel like a single location movie because a lot of horror movies are single location and you feel it
Mhm.
and you feel cramped and you're like, this is boring. And that's my biggest complaint about a lot of single location horror movies is they're boring because you're just staring at the same thing.
Yeah.
And this one, it feels like you're going different places and you don't even care that it's all the same house.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so they broke through a lot of problems that independent horror films have just with
Yeah.
the way that they shot it. The scenes
Yeah.
reenacting the party with the still photos, that's so
Oh,
cool.
probably my favorite thing about this movie was the way they use still photos. I
Hmm.
just absolutely loved it so much.
I really like that too.
Oh, one of the three upcoming projects that James Burkett
Mhm,
is working on is an untitled coherence sequel.
mhm. Yeah, I saw that.
Interesting. Final thoughts, Missy.
Just watch it. It's a fun ride. It deserves to be seen. Tell your friends, get a group together.
Mhm.
You know, it'd be a fun one to have for a movie night with your friends.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what it would pair well with though. Maybe this coherence movie.
Yeah,
The most famous would I think probably be Talk to Me. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
it would be
yeah,
fun
that
to
would
watch.
be a good double feature.
And Talk to Me is the scary one because I don't think this one is flat out like scary, scary.
no, it's just
Or
revolting,
No,
like we said at the beginning, and
yeah,
not in a way,
revolting.
not in
That's
a
a good
gag
word.
reflex way, but in a like psychologically, like if you consider what's happening, it's just like, oh God, no,
yeah.
Right. It's revolting.
yeah,
I'll take
ugh,
my chances with the gory monsters.
yeah, fuck yeah,
Like fuck this. I am not getting stuck in somebody else's body.
ugh. Ivy, final thoughts?
Or letting somebody do horrible things to your body. There's
Oh,
that too.
Yeah,
there's
that
Once you
that
too.
too.
started splitting off, yeah, oh, my brain is broken trying to come up with some sort of last thoughts. I just really want people to see this thing. There have been a few movies this year that just this has been such a good year for
Yeah,
weird, out
Yeah.
there, like tricky, and it's got a female killer, which is my favorite part, killer villain, which is my favorite part. Because I love an unhinged girl. Um,
All
but
these people are unhinged.
no, she's a new level of unhinged.
Well, yeah, she
I
is,
really,
but
really do. She set the whole thing up, the mastermindiness of it. Um, yeah, no, it's really sad to me that this seems to be sort of just floating out there and people don't know about it. So if you have, for some dumb reason, listened to all of this and haven't watched it, go watch
go watch it.
right.
Yeah, yeah. That would be my final thought as well. Just
it.
fucking go, goddamn, go see it. I just don't know how this isn't number one on their little algorithm
Hmm.
chart.
Yeah.
So it's what's inside, and I'd like to one day buy Greg Yardine or Jardine, I don't know how to say it. I'd like to buy him a drink because fuck, I really enjoyed this movie.
I'd like to buy
And
a ticket to his next film in a theater.
yes,
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 please.
yes,
In a
please,
theater.
definitely. Um, and I'll transpose my final thought to say people should also pick up Mother Dear.
Oh,
And if you haven't already, Tastes Like Candy and Tastes Like Candy 2 and Mallrats. That's Maul. And it's not the novelization of Jason Lee and Ben Affleck and whatever else goes on in that movie. Um, but yeah, so Ivy, thank you for joining us again.
thank you for having me.
And we'll have you back on soon to talk about the book. And
Sure.
until then, just I can't wait for the next one. And this is the Horror Vision. I'm Sean.
And Missy?
And thank you again, Ivy.
Oh, thank you.